Why does Donald Trump want China out of Jamaica?
Oh, this is a message to Andrew Holness. I saw an article where Donald Trump is saying that Jamaicans should get rid of the Chinese. Always remember this. America do not like to see another country strive unless they are the one who are helping. Okay. You see how Haiti need help right now? You see America even looking at Haiti? No, they don't give a fuck about Haiti. You see how Jamaica is developing right now? Jamaica look 10 times better than a lot of place in America, a lot of state. Jamaica looks so different. Jamaica, the land of food and water. You know how long we Jamaicans are asked the British, the English people them to fix the road from Montego Bay to Kingston. Them say it impossible for build. You know how long we are asked the American to fix the road from Montego Bay to Kingston. Them say it impossible. We ask many other countries and them say it impossible. But the Chinese them do it in a one day. When me say one day, I don't mean one day. But the Chinese them never say it impossible. You see, because them see how the Chinese them are develop a country. Even me myself got Jamaica and last. Me couldn't find my way from Spanish Town to Kingston. The amount of road. The road them big and pretty highway. Yo! And the Chinese them we want in our country. We no mash up our country enough. We no put we under enough sufferation. And we now go back where we are come from. We are go full speed ahead. And the Chinese them we want in our country. Cheap and clean. We now sell one pocketbook for $6 to $100. And the Chinese them are sell it for $20. We now sell we a pound of oxtail in America for $15. And if you go to Jamaica, you get it for $700. That is like $5. The Chinese them, we love them in a Jamaica. And them a develop a country. And them make Jamaica look better than America right now. We now sell out the Chinese them. The Chinese them never do nothing yet. The only thing the Chinese them do for we are good. Give a good road. We used to take 4 to 5 hours to go to Montego Bay. Now we can do it in a 2 hour. We love the Chinese them and we now give them away. America no like say nothing good for no country. So Donald Trump, me love you and everything, but leave the Chinese them alone in our country. That's our business. We Jamaican business, not your business. Leave them alone.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. My name is Dash Lifestyle. Kindly for watching me for the first time. Remember to subscribe, like, share, and also comment. To my returning subscriber, thank you so much for always coming back and watching my video. Thank you so much for the love and support. So guys, in today's video, I want us to see the reasons why Donald Trump, he wants the Chinese out of Jamaica. And also guys, I'm going to show you the video whereby Donald Trump, he was meeting with Caribbean leaders, and also he was telling them that he wants to get the Chinese out of Caribbean country, especially Jamaica. So kindly guys, watch this video, then I'll be back with more comment.
Thank you very much. We're honored to be with some terrific people that have been friends of mine, in many cases friends of mine. They've done a wonderful job in their respective countries, and we'll be talking about many subjects. Trade, we always talk about trade, but we'll also be discussing, I have a feeling, Venezuela. That may come up in our conversation. It's become a very big topic all over the world, Venezuela. And we look forward to spending a lot of time together this afternoon and discussing ways that we can be beneficial to you and you can be beneficial to us. And we very much appreciate your being at Mar-a-Lago. It's a great honor. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. If you'd like to say something to the media, maybe we'll start with you.
First of all, I want to thank you very much for extending the invitation to St. Lucia to participate. I want to thank you for the support and leadership that you've been providing in our region. You know, the United States is our biggest trading partner. And we'd like to think of the amount of trade that also the U.S. benefits from in the Caribbean. And so we're very much looking forward to these discussions today. and seeing how we can enhance the relationship to our mutual benefits.
Very good. Thank you. Please.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of Haiti, Haiti and the United States are two countries that are not only friends, but very close. I am a friend, and Miami is actually less than 2 hours away from our island. And we are here this afternoon. We'll have discussions of good things, things that will be positive for both countries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. President, for your invitation. We thank you. The Dominican Republic and the United States of America are two important partners. In fact, the United States is our main economic partner, and we are here to discuss issues of the region, and we are here to your avail to collaborate. Thank you.
We look forward to discussions on energy, on trade, but on security as well. We look forward to discussing regional issues to do with the peace and stability of the region and how we can move forward with the prosperity of our people. So we thank you again for the invitation.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm delighted to have been invited here today to discuss certain issues that are of mutual benefit to both of us. The Bahamas, the United States has been our #1 trading partner. We are neighbors. We have great relationship. We will continue to foster such relationship. I know that the meetings and the discussion today will be very productive, and we expect to come out with positive views and feelings. Thank you very much.
I think that'll happen. Thank you very much. We appreciate it, everybody, and we look forward to the discussion. Thank you.
I always hate that I have to have my ties made in China. And you know why they're made in China? Because China manipulates their currency.
We suffer every day. Can you imagine? We have been here for centuries and we're still lagging around. If we to start a business in Jamaica, it's one of the hardest things to start a business. While the Chinaman come from China, come to Jamaica, start a business, non-tax for 5 years. And by the time the 5 years come when he start pay tax, he making cousin and he never and he uncle come and him gone.
We have a massive deficit with Mexico, and we help Mexico a lot. They're essentially run by the cartels, and can't let that happen. Mexico's really in trouble, a lot of trouble. We are inheriting a difficult situation from the outgoing administration, and they're trying everything they can to make it more difficult. Inflation is continuing to rage, and interest rates are far too high. And I've been disappointed to see the Biden administration's attempt to block the reforms of the American people and that they voted for. We had a landslide election. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of people. Nobody even knows how many people, millions. And they're still counting in some areas. You know, they're still counting the vote in some areas. Can you believe this? What a place. What a horrible place. One of the things we're going to do is we've got to fix the election so that we get honest counts and they get done by 10 o'clock in the evening or something thereabouts. They have places where they're still counting votes. President Biden's actions yesterday on offshore drilling, banning offshore drilling, will not stand. I will reverse it immediately. It'll be done immediately. And we will drill, baby, drill. And we're going to be drilling in a lot of other locations. And the energy costs are going to come way down. They'll be brought down to a very low level. And that's going to bring everything else down. That's what caused it to go up, along with the ridiculous spending on the Green New scam. All this money, trillions of dollars. It's like throwing it right out the window, what they're doing. And they're trying to spend so much now. They're just taking money and giving it to anybody that wants it for any project at all if it's certified under the Green New scam. And they don't work, and it's too expensive. And, you know, they told me that we're going to do everything possible to make this transition to the new administration very smooth. It's not smooth because they're doing that. They're playing with the courts, as you know. They've been playing with the courts for 4 years, probably got me more votes because I got the highest number of votes ever gotten by a Republican, by far, actually, by a lot. And, you know, we had a great election, so I guess it didn't work. But even to this day, they're playing with the courts. They have their friendly judges that like to try and make everybody happy on the Democrat side. It's called lawfare. It's called weaponization of justice, and it's happened at a level nobody's ever seen before. The Panama Canal is a disgrace, what took place at the Panama Canal. Jimmy Carter gave it to them for $1, and they were supposed to treat us well. I thought it was a terrible thing to do. You know, it was the most expensive structure ever built in the history of our country, relatively. It would be the equivalent of substantially over $1 trillion today. We lost 38,000 people. Think of it, 38,000 people, they died from malaria, mosquitoes. They were unable to stop the mosquitoes. They paid people 5 times more to take the job. Many of those people died. We gave it away for $1. But the deal was that, you know, they have to treat us fairly. They don't treat us fairly. They charge more for our ships than they charge for ships of other countries. They charge more for our Navy than they charge for navies of other countries. They laugh at us because they think we're stupid, but we're not stupid anymore. So the Panama Canal is under discussion with them right now. They violated every aspect of the agreement, and they morally violated it also. And they want our help because it's leaking and not in good repair. And they want us to give $3 billion to help fix it. I said, well, why don't you get the money from China? Because China's basically taken it over. China's at both ends of the Panama Canal. China's running the Panama Canal. And they come to see this Biden, this guy who should never have been allowed even to run for president. Of course, she shouldn't have either, because that never happened. I had to be 2 people, not 1. But they want $3 billion to fix the Panama Canal that's run by China and makes a lot of money, China. One of the most profitable structures ever built, because you have ships lined up back to Florida, frankly, and they just keep going through, and the numbers are staggering, $500,000 to $1 million a ship. And they took it away from us, meaning we gave it to them for $1. But not going to happen. What they've done to us, they've charged us, they've overcharged our ships, overcharged our Navy. And then when they need repair money, they come to the United States to put it up. We get nothing. Those days are over. We are not treated well, as you know, by Canada. Canada is subsidized to the tune of about $200 billion a year, plus other things. They don't essentially have a military. They have a very small military. They rely on our military. It's all fine, but, you know, they got to pay for that. It's very unfair. I have so many great friends. One of them is the great one, Wayne Gretzky. I said, run for prime minister. You'll win it'll take 2 seconds. But he said, well, am I going to run for prime minister or governor? You tell me. I said, I don't know. Let's make it governor. I like it better. But no, something's going to have to be done. Same thing with Mexico. We have a massive deficit with Mexico, and we help Mexico a lot. They're essentially run by the cartels, and can't let that happen. Mexico's really in trouble, a lot of trouble. Very dangerous place. And we're going to be announcing at a future date pretty soon. We're going to change, because we do most of the work there, and it's ours. We're going to be changing, sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. And Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them. And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because Canada, they come through Canada too, and the drugs that are coming through are at record numbers, record numbers. So we're going to make up for that by putting tariffs on Mexico and Canada, substantial tariffs. And we want to get along with everybody, but, you know, they have to, it takes two to tango.
Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the Canadians to hold a vote? What is the strategy?
Yeah, I can't assure you, you're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this. We need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something. Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. China. And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China. A big part of the problem was Russia for many, many years, long before Putin said you could never have NATO involved with Ukraine. Now, they've said that. That's been, like, written in stone. And somewhere along the line, Biden said, no, they should be able to join NATO. Well, then Russia has somebody right on their doorstep, and I could understand their feeling about that. But there were a lot of mistakes made in that negotiation. And when I heard the way that Biden was negotiating, I said, you're going to end up in a war. And it turned out to be a very bad war. And it could escalate. That war could escalate to be much worse than it is right now.
They can never join NATO.
Well, my view is that it was always understood. In fact, I believe that they had a deal, and then Biden broke it. They had a deal which would have been a satisfactory deal to Ukraine and everybody else, but that Biden said, no, you have to be able to join NATO. And that's always been, and nobody knows more about NATO than I. You know, years ago when I first started this, I didn't know too much about NATO, but I got it right anyway. I said they're taking advantage. I'm the one that got, and the Secretary General was here, as you know, 2 weeks ago, saying that if it weren't for me, NATO wouldn't even exist right now, because I raised from countries that weren't paying their bills. At that time, 28 countries, 20 of them were not paying their bills, 21 to be exact. They weren't paying. Or they were paying a very small portion. And I raised over $680 billion. That was the number he gave, by saying, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you. And as soon as I said that, the money came pouring in. But Obama could have said it. Other people could have said it. Bush could have said it. Nobody said it but me. I took a lot of heat. They said, oh, that's a threatening statement. Well, they weren't paying their bills. I said, we're not going to protect you if you're not paying the bills. So in a true sense, I saved NATO, but NATO's taken advantage of us. And one of the problems that I have, and I've said it openly, I said it to President Zelensky, Europe is in for a tiny fraction of the money that we're in. Now, whether you like that situation or not, Europe is much more affected than the United States. We have a thing called the ocean in between us, right? Why are we in for billions and billions of dollars more money than Europe? And, you know, they're a similar size, a little smaller, but they're a similar size economy as the United States when you add them up. And yet Europe is in for a small fraction of the number the United States is in. Now, Biden could have called them up during the term. That's what I did. I said, you have to pay your bills. And they all, one stood up. I won't say who. You'll probably have it because the papers, the media hated to report on it. But a prime minister stood up from a country, you know, a famous meeting of 28 nations with no press, no anybody in the room. He stood up. He says, does that mean if we don't pay our bill, and at that point it was 2%, it should be 5%. It should be 5%, not 2%. But at that point it was 2%. But many people didn't pay. Some people didn't pay anything. But many people were way, including Germany. Germany was at less than 1%.
You're going to press for 5%?
Well, I think NATO should have 5%, yeah. Well, you can't do it at 2%. I mean, at 2%, every country, if you're going to have a country in a regular military, you're at 4%. I think they should be, you know, they're in dangerous territory. I think it should be, they can all afford it, but they should be at 5%, not 2%. I'm the one that got them to pay 2%. Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You look at, you don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen. And if Denmark wants to get to a conclusion, but nobody knows if they even have any right, title, or interest. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States. But if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level.
China is the only country that has developed this new form of capital, which I call cloud capital, which is the part of capital which, when it accumulates, bestows upon its owner the most power. It's the capital that lives inside your phone, the algorithmic AI-driven capital, which is not new. It's been happening now 10, 15 years. If you think about it, there is no British or European competitor to Google, to Facebook, to Amazon.com, to Uber, to Airbnb, to any of these platforms. None. No British, no German, no French, no Indian competitor to them. China has a bigger and better version of each one of them in China. And not only that, but there is an application called WeChat that belongs to Tencent, which, imagine an application, we don't have it here in Europe. You don't have an app that allows you to watch movies like Netflix, to call a cab like Uber, to send tweets, to do that, and on top of that, to send money, to pay, to make payments for free to anyone in the world. For free, no fee, no banking fee attached. That app doesn't exist in the West. The Chinese have it. So, to the extent that the United States remains hegemonic because they have the monopoly of all payment systems. When you pay anybody, even within Britain, that payment finds its way through to the other person, to the person to whom you are making the payment, through a system totally controlled by the United States. Not by the Bank of England, not by England or the European Union, totally by the United States. This is why...
Explain that, because people don't understand. If you're using Visa or PayPal, people get that.
Well, Visa and PayPal are all American.
But a bank transfer, how's that?
Well, it is possible for a payment to be made within Britain without going through one of the filters that go through Washington. But Washington has the means to press a button and stop you from making a payment from Lloyds Bank to NatWest within London. After the Second World War, Europe and Britain had no payment system. We were, in ashes after the Second World War. The continent of Europe was in genuine ashes, and Britain was bankrupt. So when Bretton Woods rebuilt the financial system through the system of central banks, the Bank of International Settlements and all that, SWIFT, have you seen the acronym SWIFT? All this system is an electronics payment system, a messaging system, which messages one bank, £10.35 is going from here to there. That system is totally controlled by the United States, because it was the United States that created it after Bretton Woods in 1944, and that remains to this day.
There is no democratic president in the world, and I say truly. Who is the democratic president? Trump? Obama? Who is here in Britain? We should be clear. Democracy is an illusion. We cannot have democracy in a capitalist, imperialist, patriarchal system, religious system.
Why not?
Because this is, they want money. Because if you remove religion, and capitalism and imperialism, then you will have socialism, and then no government will be there, you know. They are afraid of the real power of the people. You cannot have democracy, because what is democracy? Democracy is real freedom.
But if you believe that none of these democracies are democracies, why do the people live with it?
Because people are oppressed. People are not organized. We are prevented from organizing. That's the key point. When I was an individual writer, even if I become famous and star, they allow me, but not to organize. The minute I started to organize women and men, I became a danger. You are not organized here. The people here are not organized.
But nobody is stopping organization here.
But they stop it.
No government is going to come and lock you up or kill you in Britain, are they?
But in a subtle way. I know the American way.
We suffer every day. Can you imagine? We have been here for centuries and we're still lagging around. If we to start a business in Jamaica, it's one of the hardest things to start a business. While the Chinaman come from China, come to Jamaica, start a business, non-tax for 5 years. And by the time the 5 years come when him to start pay tax, he making cousin and he never and his uncle come and him gone. So, and listen, this have been happening for centuries. So this have nothing to do with PNP or JLP. And you know, at the end of the day, none of them now want to fix it because all of them want us to, the black man, to stay at the back.
It's not just the Americans that Trump initially and Biden later worried that big tech in China is rising. It's not just that. That would not worry them so much on its own. It is that Chinese big tech, a company like Alibaba or Tencent, Huawei, is rising in a country where the banking sector does not have autonomous power, unlike Britain with the City of London and America with Wall Street. In China, because of the power of the Chinese Communist Party, the political power, the big tech companies and the banks have fused to become one. So you have an app like WeChat, which is Elon Musk's wet dream. What Elon Musk wants to do with Twitter is to replicate WeChat. WeChat, imagine an app that does everything. It shows you photographs, it plays music, it shows movies, it allows you to communicate, it's got something like Facebook on it, and allows you free payments. Free payments. You make payments and the bank does not retain anything either from you or from the vendor. The Americans do not have that. And they do not have that not because they don't have the technology to have that, but because, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America will never allow Google and Apple to get away with it, to take over their business. But if you fuse together big tech with big finance, you have something much more powerful, which is what the Chinese have done, than what the Americans have done, have created.
And I must say, the one country that has studied the collapse of the Soviet Union more carefully than any country in the world is China, because China knows that the dream of the United States is to make China the second Soviet Union that collapses. So how does China prevent a collapse? First point, the Soviet Union didn't collapse because of external pressures. It collapsed because of internal weaknesses. And so China realizes, to make sure I survive, I must have a very strong, dynamic economy and a strong, dynamic society. And by the way, there was a very famous American thinker, George Kennan, who said way back in 1949, very presciently he said, at the end of the day, the outcome of the contest between United States and Soviet Union will depend on not on our weapons and troops and all that. It will depend on which society has got greater spiritual vibrancy inside, stronger. And so United States society was far more dynamic than Soviet Union society. United States thrived, Soviet Union collapsed. So the Chinese know that the first priority is to make sure your economy is strong and your society is strong, which is why they're massively educating their people and growing their economy so that they don't become a second Soviet Union. The second thing the Chinese learned from the collapse of the Soviet Union was that the United States succeeded because it managed to get a lot of the neighbors of the Soviet Union to join the containment policy everywhere. Western Europe, Japan, South Korea, right? Both ends of the Soviet Union. So what did the Chinese do? The Chinese launched a preemptive strike against a containment policy by making sure that its neighbors depended on the Chinese economy. I'll give you a simple example. You know, Singapore is part of Southeast Asia, and we are part of an organization called ASEAN. And ASEAN started as a pro-American organization, okay? In fact, when ASEAN was created on August 8, 1967, both the Soviet Union and China denounced the creation of ASEAN as a pro-American organization, right? And it's true, ASEAN was pro-American, pro-Western. And what was stunning was that even though ASEAN was pro-American, pro-Western, and we had longer dialogues with United States, European Union, Australia, Japan, everybody, none of our Western friends proposed a free trade agreement to ASEAN. The first country to propose a free trade agreement to ASEAN was China in 2001. And the impact of that China-ASEAN agreement was phenomenal. Because in the year 2000, and that's when China proposed the free trade agreement, ASEAN's trade with the United States was $135 billion, and our trade with China was only $40 billion. So US trade was, you know, more than 3.5 times what China's trade with ASEAN was. But as a result of the free trade agreement, by 2022, even though ASEAN's trade with United States has gone from 135 to 450, 500 billion, an increase of over 3 times, China's trade with ASEAN went from $40 billion to $975 billion, almost $1 trillion. The world's largest trading relationship in 2022. So then there's no way ASEAN can join a containment policy against its largest trading partner, right? It's crazy. So that's how, that's part of the Chinese strategy. And I mentioned a third one very quickly. You take the Belt and Road Initiative that China has launched, building infrastructure in all corners of the world. What does that mean? Every country in the world says, oh, this infrastructure is good. I need Chinese fast trains, I need Chinese highways. And then would you join a containment policy? You won't. So this shows you that they have systematically worked out a grand strategy. But at the same time, I can tell you that the Chinese also have a lot of respect for the United States. They understand that the United States as a power is a remarkable power. And so their challenge is, even with all this strategy, they cannot underestimate what the United States can eventually do.
The United States spends almost $1 trillion every year on war making. But do you know what the budget of the United Nations is? United Nations is supposed to be an institution, a global institution to build peace. The United Nations annual budget, my friends, is $3 billion. $3 billion to build peace, $1 trillion just by the United States to produce war. You can't eat in this country. You can't find a house to live in this country. You can't go to school and study without going to debt in this country. But you can bomb any country in the world. The greatest country in the world is the greatest country, not because there's no hunger in it, but because you can destroy any other country in the world. Those are your values. The values of a country are not to be measured by its constitution. The values of a country are to be measured by its budget. And the United States spends half its budget trying to destroy the world, and then wags the finger and talks about democracy. Do you see how strange this looks from outside the United States? People look at this and think, who's this guy Biden? This is crazy. He's mediocre. He's wagging his finger. He's telling us about democracy. And right outside my window is a warship that's ready to destroy my family. It's bizarre. You see, we don't want to deal with humanity as a security problem, as a problem that requires war, as a problem that requires policing. There are real dilemmas of humanity. Those dilemmas of humanity need to be transcended with the politics of love. These mediocre imperialists fear love. They promote hate. They promote hatred. They don't understand love. They don't understand compassion. They don't know what it means to stay awake every night trying to make sure everybody's got something to eat. They don't understand that. We go to the people and say, this is what we want to do.
You have seen the lady from Jamaica coming out and also telling us the reasons to why Donald Trump, he wants the Chinese out of Jamaica. And also, guys, I'm going to give my reaction on this topic because as we all know that right now, Donald Trump is trying to make United States the most powerful country. He wants United States to be on top, and that's why he's going to those countries which they are against the dollar. We know we have some of the countries they are trying to get rid of the United States dollar, US dollar, and because of that, Donald Trump is going to those countries who they want to bring dollar down, especially Chinese. They are making any effort to see US dollar it is going down, and also because of that, Donald Trump is going to he wants the Chinese. He wants to destabilize the Chinese. He wants the Chinese not to be in some of the country. Not only the Chinese, they want to bring United States dollar down. Also, we have some countries in the Caribbean, in Africa, like in Africa, Donald Trump, he was strengthening some of the African country which were against US dollar. They want to bring down US dollar, and Donald Trump is coming out to defend US dollar. He wants US dollar to be on top, and that's one of the reasons to why Donald Trump is trying to fight with the Chinese, because because he fears Chinese, because the Chinese, they will come with their money. The Chinese, they will be on top of United States, and that's why Donald Trump, he doesn't want the Chinese to be on top of United States, and that's why he's trying to fight the Chinese where they are going in the Caribbean, in Africa. Is trying to warn some countries about the Chinese, and that is one of the reasons to why Donald Trump, he wants the Chinese out of Jamaica. And also he was telling Jamaican Prime Minister to also help him by removing the Chinese in Jamaica. And for sure, guys, you have seen the lady from Jamaica. He has come out and highlight some of the things that the Chinese they have done in Jamaica. For sure, I can tell you that the Chinese, they have really worked hard in Jamaica. They have improved infrastructure in Jamaica. They have improved they have done so many development in Jamaica. And Jamaica right now, it is growing. That lady, she has admitted Jamaica, it is growing. The Chinese, they have helped a lot to improve infrastructure in Jamaica. And because also of that, the United States, they are fearing the Chinese are making some of the country to be a great country. And we all know these are the Western country, what they usually do to some of the black country. The Jamaican lady, she has given an example of Haiti. The reasons why the Haitian people, they are fighting it is because of the Western people. These people, they have destabilized Haiti. They have turned the Haiti leaders to be a puppet, and that's why up to date the Haitian people, they are fighting. These people, all they want it is to destabilize the black country. They don't want to see black country growing, and that's one of the reasons also to why Donald Trump, he wants the Chinese out of Jamaica. He doesn't want to see the Chinese helping Jamaica to grow. And for sure, so many people, they have been saying about the Chinese, they are taking over Jamaica. I can for sure tell you that we have a lot of Chinese in some of the black country, but these people, apart from people coming out and say how they really want this black country, it is a modern day slavery, but we have seen some of their work. These people, they are really helping, and also they are improving the black people infrastructure. These people, they are doing an amazing thing, but apart from their behavior of wanting to take the country to be in control of the country, apart from that, these people, they are doing an amazing job. But this Western country, what they usually do, it is to destabilize some of our black country. All they want, it is the mineral, it is the gold. They want to control your leaders. They want to be under them. That's all these people they want, but they are not helping. If these people, they want to help Jamaica, they should start helping with the Haitian. The Haitian people, they are fighting because of them. Why are they not supporting them? Why are they not helping them? Why are they funding others black countries to go and fight the Asian people? These people, all they want it is to destabilize this country so that they can take their resources. And for me, I can say that right now we know Jamaica also, it is growing, and because of this growth which it is growing in Jamaica, the Chinese, they are making Jamaica to be in one of the first world or second world. Those United States, they are not happy to see the Jamaican becoming the second world or first world, because they are fearing a lot. So kindly guys, subscribe if you haven't, like this video, share, and also comment. See you on my next one. Bye bye.